show. See? It's not. Okay. When you start, I take off the just stop okay. On the way I put stop. Click again, it will work if it goes off. Gafni. That means for 1 month nobody can learn. I need. Okay. No, if they used to chop their hands off or stuff like that. This is so good. It's good.
Can we begin? So we're continuing with the Sikha that we learned last week, due to the fact that there's certain inyanim which are very applicable to the day, the night and the day in which we find ourselves now. And just to remind you all that this Shabbos is what we call Shabbos Chazak, where we complete Sefer Bamidbar in the Knesset, and all the Yidden present are all announced in a loud voice, Chazak, Chazak, known as Chazak. And so we told at great length last week in the union of the Chizuk and the takers that comes from Amira's Chazak and what it implies. And one of the main things that we saw 3 times, Chazak brings about in Chazak itself what we call Chazaka. Like the Gemara brings in the Sefer Massei, in the door with the many sugyas in the Gemara and Baba Massei and Baba Basar, that Gimel Pomim Ahorecha Chazaka. And Chazaka means in all sorts of different fields that once we have 3 times that have been well established, then that's like an assumable permanent situation that gains a strength and a permanency, but to get to ownership, but to get to all sorts of other issues. The fact that we say Chazak, Chazak when it's 3 times, well, that indicates a Chazak in the union of strength and Chazak, when I get to all the inyanim of Yiddishkeit, and also to different inyanim which we brought up, when I get to the concept of 3, if we take it compared to 1 and 2, that if we have a inyan which counts number 1, then that's got whatever miles it may have, and that's indicatory in general of the concept of Mo'mayla Lamata, or something which has been given to it. And we saw that 2 implies that you've already got 2. That implies the possibility of what we call a machleka, a difference. And so that inyan from 2 indicates the possibility of differing. And as we see that in the Sheshes Yemei Breishis, the Dafka on the 2nd day of Massei Breishis, there was the dividing of the waters. The Eibishter divided the Mayim Elyonim from the Mayim Tachtonim, and on that day it's not written in the Torah Ki Tov. It's only written on Yom Shlishi Pamayim Ki Tov, to make up for the Ki Tov that wasn't mentioned on Yom Sheni. The point being that because there was a possibility, and there actually occurred, like a difference in a machleka between the Mayim Elyonim and the Tachtonim. However, when you get to 3, then 3 has the ability to unite the 2 together, as we see in many cases. We brought many examples to that principle, and it's not the place here to go back into all of started to say that the union of three adds and that's the great advantage of the Beis Hamikdash, which is going to be built. Tegev Me'ad Mamish, even before Tisha B'Av, Beis Hashem, the Beis Hamikdash HaShlishi. And so the Rebbe dealt in detail with the great advantages of Bayis Rishon, Nivno Alidei Shlomo HaMelech. And he said that was Be'ikah like a Gilui Mo'mayla. There were tremendous inyanim of Gilui Lakus, but due to the fact that it didn't include the other principle of Milmata Lamayla so much, therefore it had like a limitation to it, and therefore it only lasted a certain number of years, and then there was an interruption or churban. Bayis Sheni was another, and that was Oile Bovel. Those who came from the Goddess Bovel with Ezra, they built the Beis Hamikdash, and that was like the union from Bala Yichuva, Davkim Milmata Lamayla, not so much the union of Nasina, Milmayla Lamata. They built the Beis Hamikdash against great difficulties that they faced from the government in charge, still in Bovel, which still claimed they have a right to over them to a certain extent, and other difficulties that they had on the spot without going into all the details. So it was a tremendous effort, Milmata Davki Bayis Sheni. And therefore Bayis Sheni had the Maila of Milmata Lamayla, and therefore it lasted longer in years than Bayis Rishon. And it was a bit bigger. It was actually bigger in actual area than Bayis Rishon. However, since it was Be'ika, only the effort of the Nira, Milmata Lamayla, it never was at a limitation. And the genuine permanency, Nitzchius, as we call it, is going to be Dafka when you unite the two milas together, Alidei a third Madriga, Ein Rock to both of them. And we see in Tanya, in the Geras HaKodesh, the Alter brings it down, where you have a third level, it's able to, it's at its tremendous level, it's able to cause a beetle in the two differing parties, and they unite together. So Bayis Shlishi is going to have the Maila of no Maila Lamata, because there's going to be a lot of things in Bayis Shlishi. However, it's going to have the Maila of having come through the Mesiras Nefesh of the Avodah of the Yidden and the Golas all the years. It's going to have the Maila of Milmata Lamayla as well, but it's going to have the unbelievable Maila of the Gilei Lakus, Ma'atzmi saying so, that he's going to be Mitgala in a way that he will unite these two things together, and therefore will gain an everlasting permanence that wasn't there in the other two great Batimita. That's what we learned. And then the Rebbe wanted to say that there's an even further Maila in number 4 and number 5. That number 4 steps up to a Zara Madriga, where it's no longer a level concerned with uniting things together. It's like a Madriga beyond that altogether. And then 5 is an even higher Madriga. In other words, 5 is like we find written at the end of Sefer Bereshit, at the end of Parashat Vayichi, where it's written that the Kohanim that they were taking over, the Yosef gave them, they gave, the people gave them, how to call it, what was it, Chaimish, but they gave 4 parts to them, and the Chamishas, the 5th part was given to Pari personally. Chamishas Pari. So it's put in the Zohar Kodesh over there. That what does that indicate? That indicates a very, very high Madriga. That Pari is from Russian opening or splitting something open. The Lifroa, or to, it's written by the Saitama, Vayifrat Rosh Ha'isha, that means he disheveled her hair, the Kohen. But that means like a breaking open. The para indicates a splitting open of all the divine lights from the highest possible point all the way down to here. So 5, the Chamishias, the para, the 4 parts were given to the Kohen, but the Chamishias was given to para. The Zohar Kodesh said that indicates a tremendously high level. Therefore, the Rebbe said that in the Gula Shlema, which is going to bring about the building of the Beis HaMikdash, there's also descriptions where we call the Geula Shlema, the Gula Shlishiyas. Sometimes we call it the Gula Reviyas, and sometimes we call it the Geula Chamishiyas. And it all depends how you reckon the Golison, and if you reckon it says Mitzrayim together with them, and so on and so on. So you can even call the Gula Shlema, which is going to involve the building of the Beis HaMikdash Shlishi, you can call it the Geula Chamishiyah, or you can call it the Geula Reviyah. So the Rebbe said, we see from that the Geula hasn't itself the mile of this unbelievable level of Chamishi, also the inyan of Reviyah, and therefore it has also the mile of Shlishi in the Etzem Binyan of the Beis HaMikdash. So that's basically what we learned last week. Now we're going to deal with a very remarkable thing which has to do with this evening. And that is that today is Rosh Chodesh Menachem, and this is the Yortzeit, this is the day on which Aaron HaKohen passed away. And this passing away of Aaron HaKohen is mentioned in the Torah, in this week's Parashat, and it's mentioned exactly where he passed away and what day of the month and which month. Now, if you think carefully, it's similar to I just need to make a bracha.
Amen.
If we think carefully and we look at the Torah carefully, all the great people and all the great personalities, like the three fathers, Moshe Rabbeinu, Miriam, all sorts of other people who are very great, it's not mentioned, it's just written that they passed away, or they had so many children or under such circumstances, but it's not written what day and it's not written where or anything. For example, when we get to Moshe Rabbeinu, we don't know where he was buried. They couldn't actually locate it. We also don't know where, from the actual Torah, what day it was. The Gemara in Massei Rosh Hashanah, the Gemara learns out from Pesukim, from Dikduke Pesukim, what day Moshe Rabbeinu was born and what day he passed away. But it's not written in the Torah exactly what day it was. And the same with Miriam and the same with Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov. None of them is written what day and where and so on. The details of their past are not written. It's only written by Aaron HaKohen. And in this week's Parsha, it's written in the middle of all the journeys, the Massei journeys. It's written by Yal Aaron Al Pi Hashem. Vayom Hashem Aaron b'chodesh hachamishi be'echad ha'chodesh. And chodesh hachamishi is chodesh Or. Be'echad ha'chodesh is a Rosh Chodesh, which means that he passed away. And it was all Al Pi Hashem. It's written at the beginning. Al Pi Hashem. Rashi brings down Malamed Shemeis Aaron b'nashika. The Kaviyah Hashem kissed him and took out his soul. That's a very, very rare madriga. We see there was like a tremendous, almost personal tipul of Hashem in Aaron's passing, to the point that it's written exactly what day and what month. So that must come to teach us something very rare about Aaron HaKohen and what he did in the world. What was his whole what was his whole Indian? The fact that it's written in such detail must have a very important message. So that's where we're going to come in tonight, and it's on page 457, about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's about 6 lines, about the 6th line up from the bottom of the page. Yeshnoi dolam noisov hakosher davke le'erev Shabbat zeh. There's an extra matter, says the Rebbe, connected intimately with Erev Shabbat. That's today. Today is Erev Shabbat. Yom Petirosei Shel Aaron HaKoyen. The passing of Aaron HaKoyen on the first day of Chodesh Av, which is Mefurish b'Parashat. It's written openly and clearly in this parsha where we're holding now. Vayavol Aaron HaKoyen el Ha'ar, Vayom Hashom b'Chodesh HaChamishi be'erod l'Chodesh. So it's written clearly exactly where he died and the place, with the name of the mountain and the whole thing, and also the date very, very clearly written. B'klal, b'kol ha'Torah shebiksav kula. So the Rebbe, generally speaking, in the whole written Torah as a whole, lo moifia afilo pamachas talik patiro shel mishu masuyo. The Rebbe said in Torah shebiksav, meaning the chamishu chimshei Torah, in the Nach, we do find it sometimes, but in the chamishu chimshei Torah, so we don't find such a specific noting of the day and the date of the passing of somebody particular. Doesn't matter what his level was or whatever, we don't find it. He said, Loi shel Moshe, Loi shel Miriam, va'af loi shel ha'oves, Avrom Yitzchak, Yankov, ואנחנו לא מוצאים what date. So the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah reckons out also from different diukim that maybe we can assume that they passed away in Iyar and this and so on and so forth. But it's not written clearly in the Torah. In Cain, the fact that it is written by Aaron, Bavada Yeshnei Kesher Bein HaTarich Echav B'Chodesh HaChamishi, Rosh Chodesh of the 5th month, which is of, Lebein Avidoshe Shel Aaron HaKohen. There must be a connection between that month, and a very essential connection, and the whole service of Aaron HaKohen during his whole life in this world. Shekain, Kiyadua, as was well known from the Siddur of the Alter Rebbe, what the Alter Rebbe writes about it at great length when I get to like Bo'ima and the Stalkers of Rebbe Shimon. He writes over there, B'yom HaPetira, that on the day of the passing of a tzaddik, Mizgalim Bo'ilom, it comes down into the world, HaKoiches v'Apules Shel HaNivto, all the things that he did and he carried out during his life, all come down and reveal themselves in the world. V'Maviyim Yeshua Be'oilom. That the Alter Rebbe adds in Tanya, in the Geras HaKodesh, chapter 28, where he talks about there the connection in Parshat Chukas of the passing of Miriam with the Porah Adumah. And the Alter Rebbe says over there that the passing of great tzaddikim brings Shua, salvation and Yeshua to the world, and that's the union of what we say. Maybe Yeshua b'kerev ha'oretz. In the world, the tzaddiks are to be poiled through the revelation of everything he did. And that brings with it only good and Yeshua throughout the world. Which means on the day of his passing, you could take a moshel for what the Alter Rebbe writes over there, and what the Alter Rebbe means. You can take a moshel that when somebody's building a beautiful vessel or a beautiful house, for that matter, he builds all the details, but the whole general effect has not occurred yet. Only when he puts the last thing in, the last little brick brick or the last, then there's a general impression of the whole house. But somebody who knows about it a bit, if it's lacking that last touch, he doesn't feel the whole oinig or the whole general effect of the whole thing. So therefore, the same with the tzaddik. When he passes away, it's like he puts the finishing touch to everything he did. Therefore, there's a general light of everything he did. It reveals itself down in the world, and that has a very positive effect on everybody. That brings Yeshua and bracha into the world. And that's the Indian from Poya and Yeshua is Bekeravah. That's what the author brings over there. Avidosh shel Aaron. So let's understand then what was the Avodah of Aaron HaKohen. So he says, Avidosh shel Aaron mudgeshes be'ikah be'yempe b'tirosei. He said, if we look carefully in the Torah, then on the actual day that he passed away, the Torah writes clearly what was like the Sach HaKol, the sum total of the whole Avodah of Aaron HaKohen. What does it imply? So he says like this, Kashanipta Aaron, it's Nema, it's a pasuk, this is not a pasuk in our Parsha, this is a pasuk in Parsha Chukat, a few Parshas ago. Nema vayivku es Aaron shleishim yom kol beis Yisrael. That after the passing of Aaron, they announced that there would be a whole month of mourning, and it's written that the whole house of Yisrael wept for Aaron 30 days. Yeah, and it's well known, the deal, what Rashi brings over there. And Rashi says that by Moshe Rabbeinu, it's written at the end of the Torah, that they also mourn him 30 days, and over there it's written that by Yivku Moshe Yisrael, it's not written Kol Beis Yisrael. It's just written that the Jewish people wept for Moshe. So Rashi comes along over there, and Rashi says, why? He said, because Aaron was a person that was loved by everybody, both by the males and the women, and everybody, all of them felt a great devotion. Yeah, and therefore it's written Kol Beis Yisrael. Why? Kivan she'Aaron ahav es kulam. Yeah, u'kedivrei ha'mishnah, and that's in Pirkei Avos, and I think it's even in the period that we'll be learning this Shabbos. Oyev Shalom, Veredev Shalom. Yeah, you must be a lover of peace, and you must chase after peace. You must look to bring peace. Oyev es abriyos u'mekarav anla. You must love people, and you must bring them close to Torah. And it's well known, the famous deer of the Alter Rebbe, what he points out in Tanya, Parashat Beit, there's written, Oyev es abriyos. Abriyos means created creatures. So the Rebbe said it means that even if it's simple Yidden, that they don't have any more milas, apart from the fact they were created. They were created entities of Hashem. Nonetheless, you have to love them. And you have to be devoted to their welfare. Well, that was the greatness of Aaron. He was devoted, and he ran after it, and he chased, to bring Shalom, and to bring it to Kira of even simple people to the values of the Torah. So we see that's why it is that the whole Beis Yisrael, everybody wept for Aaron, which has a certain advantage, or how do you call it, certain portion more than the mourning that was there for Moshe Rabbeinu. But that doesn't mean that Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't what he was. What it means was that Aaron's whole speciality was everybody, Kol Beis Yisrael, Ahava, and Reid Shalom. So the Rebbe said, B'neisav Lakach, in addition to that, Kasher Nifta Aaron, when Aaron passed away, Istalko Anane HaKorei. Then immediately Aaron passed away, there was at least for a certain period of time, there was a withdrawal of the Anane HaKorei. You're all familiar with what the Anane HaKorei was. I don't know what the Anane HaKorei was. Oh, right. So that when the Yidden traveled in the desert, there were 7 big clouds that Hashem made that surrounded them from all sides. And so that when they went in the desert, they were surrounded from all sides, and that had two, effectivities. One was that it protected them from everything that happened, and the second thing is it was like a ever-presence of divine providence. Hashem was surrounding them, and He was with them the whole time. That's called the Ananei HaKol. Now the Gemara brings in the sector Tainez that there were several things that didn't have in the midbar. They had man, and they had water from the whole time from Bereshit Miriam, and they had the Ananei HaKol. So the Gemara says that the man was b'schus Eshel Moshe. In the schus of Moshe Rabbeinu, that's how the man came down. In the schus of Miriam, that's how they had water. But in the schus of Aaron HaKohen, it was in the schus that they had the Ananei HaKol. And the Ananei HaKol was so powerful that they were able to stop, even if weapons were thrown on them by enemies from the outside, and these clouds would catch the arrows or whatever it is that were being thrown. So they were very powerful. So what's written in the Torah, immediately after Aaron went up into the mountain and he passed away, that's written by Yishma HaKnani v'bo lilachem b'Yisrael, that the Knani heard that and he came immediately to make war against the Yidden. So over there in Parashat it's also written the same thing, and Rashi tells us over there that it's not Knani. It's not Knani in the sense of the people of Canaan, it's Amalek. It really means Amalek. Now Amalek dressed up and he joined together with the Canaanium and he made himself look like Canaanium. But real was Amalek. And so what an Amalek thing, he felt that he had an amazing opportunity now. Why? Because the Ananei HaKol have gone away. Since they came to Shchusa Shal Aaron, and once Aaron passed away, then the Ananei HaKol left. So he thought, oh, the Ananei HaKol there, if I shoot at him, I just hit the Ananei HaKol. Oh, but now there's no Ananei HaKol, I'm going to come and make war. And so the Yidden had a miraculous victory over here. Oh, but nonetheless, as soon as he saw the Ananei HaKol were missing, that's when he decided to come and wage war. So the Gemara adds over there in Massei Tainez, the Gemara says that it doesn't mean that the Ananei HaKol went all together. The Ananei HaKol came back. And when Miriam passed away, in Parashat that's mentioned, the water should have stopped. And it did temporarily, but it came back. It came back again. And when Moshe Rabbeinu passed away, the man should have stopped, but the man also, I'm sorry, not when Moshe Rabbeinu passed away. When Miriam passed away, the water stopped. And then it's written that all the water and the Ananei HaKol came back b'schus Shel Moshe. Because Moshe still remained alive until they managed, went over the Yarden. Remember, he brought back the Ananei HaKol and the water. Everything came back through Moshe Rabbeinu. There's a whole sichel in the Rebbe about that, but we won't get involved in all that at the moment. I will suffice it to say that temporarily, for a short time, until Moshe brought them back, the Ananei HaKol disappeared. So he said that Kasher Nifta Aaron is Talku Ananei HaKol, Kivu es Panei Yisrael B'Midbar, Kiven Shanonim Eilu, Oye B'Schus Aaron. And they left. And then there came this Amalek again, in the form of Canaanium. He came and he made war against the Yidden. What Derech Hagav, the Targum Yems and Ben Uziel and others bring about that you have to always be careful about Amalek. If the slightest protective influence in your life, for some reason, withdraws, then who do you have to be concerned about the first thing? Amalek. And he said he's the main arch warmonger against Yidden. So therefore, even though he doesn't mention it here, that happens to be the case. So the Rebbe says, "Akesha ben shnei advarim upashut." So what's the kesher between the fact that Aaron loved everybody and he was devoted to the benefit of all Yidden, and the Ananiah Akubit? What's the connection? So the Rebbe says, Haman, if we take, for example, the man, let's examine the man from them. He said, Haman Shiur b'schus Moshe, or Yemodud umubal. It came down in a way that was measured. Everybody got Oima who go good. You got Oima to one head, and you didn't get any more. And if you thought you were going to get more, then you were mistaken. You didn't get any more. So even though it was an unbelievably great gift to the Jewish people, this has become like a bedtime story around here. Everybody's alle lanes are slow. And it's hard, when you put in all the quickness,
I'm listening.
Anyway, this is a way of hearing when your eyes are open here also. Anyway,
Focus better.
so he said that the man came down to B'schus Moshe, but it was limited. He said, Kol echad kibel lo yosem me'oima l'gil. Everybody got just the amount for their head. Umayim shebo b'schus shel Miriam, lo yoyim mugbalim, they weren't so limited. Avo emigu l'kol echad benifrad. The water came to each person according to what he needed. So you could drink as much water as you liked. It didn't say, listen, you only get so many pints of water a day, but it was limited according to you. Each person drinks differently than the other. And therefore, even though it was a bit more than the man, but it was also limited. If we examine the Anani HaKoved, he kifu eskol b'nai Yisrael b'shabed. What's the meaning of a cloud? A cloud is above everybody, and a cloud surrounds everybody, particularly what we call makifim. So a makif is something which surrounds everything in an equal way. Everybody underneath the big umbrella is equal. Everybody benefits from it in an equal way. So the greatness of Aaron expressed itself in this, that he brought about a divine ness and a divine ashkwa to the Jewish people, which wasn't limited towards any specific limitation. It involved everybody in an equal and tremendous protective way. Anonim elu hugia b'schus shel Aaron. It's well known that the Anonim, they were due to the schus of Aaron. Shohoya oyav es kol b'nai Yisrael. Mitzad ha'nakuda ha'elokis ha'machedes es kuram. Oh, so the Rebbe said, what caused a person like Aaron to love everybody in an equal way? And therefore the Anani HaKoved were also equal, and because Aaron loved everybody in an equal way. He said, how do you come to that? He said, you see that what you might call the uniting point in everybody. What makes everybody like one entity, and then you're able to devote yourself to them all in a uniform way. So he said, Aaron HaKohen saw in all Yidden what he called the divine Nakuda. What you might call in the language of Chassidus, but even Floli, the Yechida, how do you call it? The Yechida Shabbat, the highest level of the Neshama. Aaron saw that, and everybody, and that was by him, by way of revelation. He saw that clearly and openly in every year. That unites them all together. And the Rebbe said, the two things have a connection. Aaron brought about a divine thing which united all Yin together. Why is that? Because he was devoted to everybody, also in a way that he caught the Nakuda, the inner, what you might call, inner central point of every year, and that united them all together. And therefore, the two things in him are allied, and they have a connection. One with the other, which means that Aaron was an unbelievably general figure. And his idea was to bring down general things that involved and embraced everybody in a very intimate and yet very beyond an elevated way. And it's very remarkable. So the Rebbe says, he said this fact that Aaron had these two general things that united in his whole lifetime, he said that's also hinted at in his name. What is that? He said Aaron's name is Aleph, the word Aleph, the letter Aleph, then the word Har, hey Rach, is the word Har, which means a mountain, and then you got a nun at the end, and that nun is a nun Sofi. Because there are two nuns, you know, there's an ordinary nun, and there's a nun Sofi, and the nun Sofi goes down underneath the line. It goes down beyond the line. Most letters just sit on the line, while they have certain things above the line, like the Tagim and different parts of them, but they sit on the line. There are certain letters that go underneath the line. So that's the nun at the end of Aaron's name. So he says, let's take a look and see what does that tell us. So the Rebbe says, af nirmas b'shmoi ha-ha, after you've got the Aleph, you'll deal with the Aleph in a minute. But after the Aleph, you have the word hey reish. What hey reish means a mountain. Shebeshem Arin, Masamo Arva. That indicates the union of an Arva. And the Alter Rebbe explains that in the Kutei Torah, in Parashat, that a mountain goes upwards. And a mountain is like a elevation from the normal sea level. And so he said, why does that indicate Ahava? He said, when you love something, then you elevate from your normal situation and you go upwards towards that union, particularly in Malakuz. That's what we call Ratzoi. That's called in the language of Chassidus, Ratzoi. So therefore the word Har indicates love. Indicates the union of Aaron's love for everybody. Har. And so then he said, Ve'ilo ha'alim. The Aleph at the beginning, before the word Ha, Shabbatchila, Misamer es ha'ara ha'pilois ha'bilti gvuliyas shahoyza eto Aaron. So the Rebbe says the word Aleph, if you just switch the letters around a bit and you write the word Aleph as Aleph, Lamed, Pei. As if you take them backwards and you go Pei, Lamed, Aleph. So Pei, Lamed, Aleph means Pele. Pele. And Pele means wondrousness. So that means to say that the Har, which indicates the love of Aaron, that was preceded by Aleph, which means Pele. But that means that the love of Aaron was what we call unlimited love, a Pele, in the way of and so the Rebbe points out in the Sikha, and it's also brought down in the Kutei Torah, in that moment that I just mentioned, that the difference is that there are two types of ahava. There's one type of ahava which comes according to understanding, and based on your understanding, that's why you're attracted, and that's why you love, and you're enthusiastic about that certain inyan. There's another inyan in love which is not based on your, but that's something which is given, no maila, and it comes from the Eroki, which is beyond what we call Ishtalshav, beyond Ishtalshav. That's called Ava Rabba. The other one is called Ava Stam, and this is called Ava Rabba. So what we want to hint at is, the Alter Rebbe says over there that Aaron, he had this Ava Rabba, which means Ava Ligvul, with no limitations. Therefore it's written Aleph Har. So Har indicates Ava, but Aleph indicates Pele. And Pele indicates Ligvul. That was the love of Ava. So we see here also the two sort of effects that we're trying to get at. On the one hand, he loved everybody. That was on the other hand, it was a very marketic love. It was a love from beyond the Shtalshalas, and that's what we call Makir. Therefore, it was similar to Anani HaKovid. It had in itself also the Inyan of Anani HaKovid, which they were makir. Yeah. They elevated, they surrounded and elevated everybody. So there was the river that shows us how Aaron's name indicates what was really he all about. So he said, ניתן ללמוד זאת גם מסעיד האישיות שבמילה Aaron. He said he can learn and come to that conclusion, which we just did. He said also from the order of the Asias, how they run in Aaron's name. So he says, Aleph, Hey, Reish, Zehu, Rosh HaTevas, Avarava. So it says that Aleph, Hey, Reish is a Rosh HaTevas of what we just said. Yeah, that's Avarava. He says, the Ilu Anun Soifiyas, Shebesof HaMila, yeah, the Nun at the end, which goes down low, yeah, he says, Misamela She'ava, Yoda v'ishpashta l'kol b'nei Yisrael. Yeah, afla elu shayu lamata, mata nun sofi. And so that indicates that the love of Aaron was unlimited. It could reach anybody, even if you were what you might call below the line. You know, you're not so, a hot cookie. Nonetheless, Aaron was able to come down to you, and he was able to find you with his arm, even underneath the line. That he could, even below the line, he was able to find you. So therefore we see that the unbelievable love of Aaron Aquin, yeah, was such that it involved and enveloped everybody, yeah, because it was unlimited in its very self, and therefore was able to go down right to the lowest madrega of Yidden. So therefore says the Rebbe, it comes out that Aaron was a tremendously devoted person in an unlimited way, absolutely believed. And therefore his second effect was the Anani Kovet, also which indicate an unlimited form of divine influence. So therefore says the Rebbe, Dargosi shall Aaron hoyasol amayla mi's chalkes. His level was beyond the interdivision into individuals. But often who Aaron is called b'nei Yisrael b'shov, and therefore he loved everybody. He wasn't limited. Yeah, he was a Massei Yaakov, and therefore he loved everybody. It doesn't matter who you were, and he was prepared to worry about you. Right? So hopefully, certain people hopefully have a little original insight, can sort of figure who fits this pattern. I see I can't very much there to really throw a bone here, but I think I did. I think a few people grabbed the idea, and that's the Rebbe, yeah. The Rebbe is all in a very good influence, and because of that, yeah, his love is a love which envelops everybody. It doesn't matter who. It can be a Yid somewhere in the Himalayan mountains, and the Rebbe is concerned about you. Chayim.
Chayim.
So there's an old saying in English, you may have heard of it, birds of a feather flock together. So why is the Rebbe talking in such detail about that? And he's in the same ballgame, he's in the same league. Yeah. So it says like this. It says the Rebbe further now, he said, Echad מהתפקידו המרכזיים של אהרון, הכהן היה ברכת כהנים. Here's a very fascinating one. And here in Eretz Yisrael, you get bרכת כהנים more often than you do in Chutz La'aretz. And that's one of the amazing sugyas which are not clear why it is. We don't make bרכת kehuna moral over here. Over here in Tzfat, there's one on the Beis Yosef, who was the Rav. He posted that whenever there's a Musaf, then you should make, so today's Rosh Chodesh, tomorrow B'Musaf there'll be Birchas Kohanim. So the Rebbe said that one of the chief jobs of Aaron was to say Birchas Kohanim, how do you call it, the blessing of the priest. So the Rebbe said, what's so special about Birchas Kohanim? So special about Birchas Kohanim. Birchas Kohanim, Zui mitzvah min ha-Torah. The Rambam brings it down, and it's brought down in Kol HaMakaymes. It's a mitzvah saseh min ha-Torah, levorek es b'nei Yisrael b'kol yom. That you have to bless Yidden every day. And that's, like I said, it's one of the big ununderstandable problems why it is that we don't say Birchas Kohanim every day. And you know the famous statement of the Alter Rebbe. What the Alter Rebbe said, that if he would have the koyach, if he would have the necessary koyach, he would bring in that not just in Eretz Yisrael, but everywhere, they would make Birchas Kohanim every day, even in the Gulf. So, I see my ability to surprise anybody around here is tame. But that's what the Alter Rebbe said. The Alter Rebbe said that if he had the koyach, he would bring in, and in Shulchan Aruch, the Alter Rebbe writes, "Yasher koyachacham shel b'nei Eretz Yisrael shebekam mekaymes mavochim Birchas Kohanim b'kol yom." Yeah, that's the Alter Rebbe writes in the Shulchan Aruch. And to this day, Tavki Chabad, there's a big machlokes where you should become Birchas Kohanim.
Chabad base.
Yeah, it's one of the big, amazing things that Tavki and Chabad, it's very unclear though, Birchas Kohanim when you make it. But the Rebbe says here also that the mitzvahs Massei in the Torah is to bless Yidden every day. That's what he said, before you. Yeah, so he says, Gam b'zman hazeh. That is also in the time of the Golos, not only in the time of the Beis Hamikdash. So he says, Stam, yeah, bracha, mamshicha shefa elokim u'mayla la. So the Rebbe said, a blessing, if you give a bracha to somebody, then you're bringing down something from above to him. That's what the idea of a bracha implies. And therefore the word bracha is from the word brecha. What brecha means like it's something that comes down and it makes its way down from above lamata. So that's in another bracha. However, tefillah, prayer, is davkim matarosa hi l'seira no mata l'mayla. Prayer implies the end of you going upwards to Hashem. Bracha means that you're bringing something down. Prayer means you're going from below upwards. So the Rebbe Iru Ma'aloshes of Birchas Kohanim, the great mile of Birchas Kohanim, she'i mechaberes is amshocha lamata v'aliyah l'mayla v'yosa l'mayla mishneihem. Oh, well this is, and therefore the Rebbe brings down, and he's going to say it in the next sentence, that therefore the Birchas Kohanim's got three parts to it. And it's called the Bracha Mishul Eshes, and what they call it the Tris of Bracha. And what did we say earlier in the Seder? We said, well, there's three. There's a koyach which is beyond the two, which unites them two together. He said, therefore the Birchas Kohanim has in itself the aliyah, no matter what, that's the effort of the Kohanim to arouse upwards. The coming down, the divinity coming down, that's the nomaila, that's the bracha part of it. And then there's this third level, which is very, very high than both of the other two, and that's the ultimate achievement of Birchas Kohanim. And therefore there's a big Indian, whenever Birchas Kohanim, you can get excited. Whenever it's Birchas Kohanim, everybody wants to make sure he's standing in the right place to get the bracha, because it's a big time. They're very, and the Alter Rebbe writes in Parashat in Likutei Torah, And the Alter Rebbe writes that it's very swift also, that the whole Biras Kehanim, Hadikot just runs down quickly through all Seder Shtalshalas and just pushes all the Seder Shtalshalas aside, and from very high level in divinity it becomes real Lamata. Why? Because it's a Baruch Mushul, Hadikot's 3. So there it's got Mil Mata Lamaila, Mil Mata Lamata, and it's got the third level, which is uniting the two together. So there he said, Shabiras Kehanim, Yemav Daga Shlishiyat, Shalamayla Meatera Utfila, Yemarumas, Apakak Shei, Babiras Kanim Shloisha, 3 psukim, 3 different brachas, and there was called Bracha Mushul. Lesser, the Kohenim say, Baruchenu Bracha Mushulesha, or the Sliach Tzibah. I'm sorry, he says that. So he said, Gamba Mishmash Nezel Shal Arim. The Rebbe says, there was also in the number of years that Aaron lived, you also find the Mila of 3. This Mila of 3. He said, Aaron Chai Me'er Esrim B'Shalosh Shanim. He lived 123, not 120, not 121, but 123. Talema, that means to say, Shenezel Me'er Esrim Shona Shayu Gamli Ovi. Moshe Rabbeinu also lived 120 years, and that's also written in the Torah that the perfect amount of years that a man can live is 120. So 120 is at a good, very elevated, but it's usual. So he says that Moshe Rabbeinu also lived to 120. It takes of La'aran or Shalosh. Or 3 years. He said, Aramuzim, Yalavidosi Akloli Shal Harin. He said that indicates the general Aveda of Harin, Yelachabe es Aliyah Vamshocha, Aritei Adaga Hashlishiyaz, that he brings the two things of bracha, of tefillah, together for a third level, and he said that's why he lived an extra 3 years extra to indicate that he had, above other perfect people, he had a very special advantage, but that was in infant Shlishi. So and you say, do you want it? So you got it. He said, "V'zeu gam hakesher shel Aaron hakohen l'talik pitirosei echad b'chodesh hachamishi." Yeah, the first day of the 5th month. He said, "Achodesh chamishi kosher l'mishpach chamei." He said, just like its name implies, the 5th month is connected with, how do you call it? The number 5. Shemoira ka'omara, we learned at the beginning of the Sikha, Achiva amushram shel aliyah v'ham shocha. It's like the power to link aliyah v'ham shocha together in a very, very high way, much greater even than 3. Elian v'taktain, to link them both together in the highest level, that was the number 5. So he said, "V'gam yom ha'echad b'chodesh." The first day, misamel is a nakuda ha'aftas shelamayla mi'eschalches. Now this goes back quite a few lines back that we said that how did Aaron have that ability to see everybody in an equal way and to love everybody in an equal way? But he saw the nakuda Amitias B'Teichom, the Nakuda Klodius that's there in every year. So the Rebbe said that's the Indian from Aftas, which is beyond interdivision. If you see and experience and come in your life to recognize that Aftas, then you become devoted to all Yidden without any, holdback whatsoever. You're just devoted to everybody. And he said, that's the After Shalamayla Mi'eschal. That's the concept of oneness, which is beyond interdivision. And therefore you literally see all Yidden as like one tremendous unity. And therefore the Alter Rebbe brings down in the Perek Lamed Beis but that's the period which talks about these type of things. The Alter Rebbe says the highest way to experience Ahavas Yisrael is when you see all Yidden as if they were all children of Neshama Achas, and they just come into different bodies, but it's all the same. It's all basically the same inyan as he writes over there. And that's what the Rebbe means here. Aaron had by himself this Nakuda of the inyan of Achters, Shalamaylam Yitzchalkas, and that's the inyan from Rosh Chodesh, and Rosh Chodesh is Aleph. And the Rebbe makes a very interesting point that even when Rosh Chodesh is 2 days, here it's only 1 day, but even when Rosh Chodesh is 2 days, the Rambam writes in the Hilchos Kiddush HaChodesh that the first day of Rosh Chodesh really belongs to the previous month. It's Lamed of the previous month. And he said the real Aleph is the second day of Rosh Chodesh. So always when you hit the Aleph, that's when you're hitting the Emerson, Nakuda, of Rosh Chodesh. So in the days where there's only one day anyway, then you get adequate. You wanted it, so you got it. But then you've got it. Keep sure. So he said that's the Aleph of Rosh Chodesh Av. Be'echad l'chodesh ha'chamishi. Well, that indicates that Aaron was devoted to the infinite. So he said, Tariseh Mahava Semo Mudu Lavidos Aaron. That particular date, well, that indicates to us a very careful indication of what was the service, what was Aaron Akuyan really up to, what was he really doing. Chibur, the joining together, joining together the elevation and the coming down in village Kohanim, but Goshes Nakudas are actors, and the finding of that one Nakuda which unites all Yidden together, B'kolam Yisrael, Alidei Ananei HaKovid, Shekivu Es Kulam, Ve'ya'av L'kol Yehudi B'asher Hu, and love for every Yid, no matter what he is, wherever he is and however he is. So here we see then, this is like the finality of what the Rebbe set out to explain, that the date of Aaron's passing indicates, but Pneumius, what is Inyanim really all about. So that's pretty amazing. Vazui said, Achona Matima, L'chodesh Hashishi. Then the Rebbe goes on to an amazing thing, and he said, what month comes after Chodesh Ov? Chodesh Elul. And Chodesh Elul is already the preparation for Rosh Hashanah, for the Gilad HaKus of Rosh Hashanah. And what is Elul? Elul is Ani L'doidi V'doidi Li. Ani L'doidi is the Halorah, the elevation, Mata L'mayla. Doidi Li is Mil Mata. So just like you unite those two together, and how do you have a Rosh Hashanah of Elul? And it's complete when you got the two of them. If you have only half of it, you don't have Elul. So there you have to have Ani L'doidi V'doidi Li, united together. And that's how Aaron's, the day of his passing, runs in eventually and brings to Chodesh Elul. Okay, so I think we might sort of, what's the time? I can't turn off my backers.
It's the invitation.
20 past 9. When did we start?
20 past.
About now. So anyway, just suffice it to say, the Rebbe says that we are moving into the 9 days. So the Rebbe says that one of the things he wants people to do in the 9 days is to increase the inyan of Ahavas Yisrael, but take in a way of actors, and seeing the actors and the union of Ali Yidden. But that will be carrying out the tradition of Aaron HaKohen. And then he says another way that can be expressed is through making siyumim. And he call it finishing off tractates. And you know that when you finish a tractate, then people make a suda. So the Rebbe doesn't want you should eat flakes in these sudas, but the people should finish, and you should make a little suda. So the Rebbe says, the Rebbe brings down a Gemara, Massei Rashidullah Abaye, he was the Rosh Yeshiva. And whenever he saw one of his Talmidim who finished a Masechta, he used to make for him a yont, because he would bring a Suda, and all the Talmidim in the base of Medrash would make a, yeah. So the Rebbe said, we see that when you complete Indian inter, like a Masechta, and Satan, but the Rebbe said that all the Talmidim in the base of Medrash all got together. Everybody joined in, even though only one person had actually finished. Yeah. So the Rebbe said he wants that the siyumim should be made with a lot of yidden together. It's not enough just to make a siyum for yourself and a couple of chaverim, but the Rebbe, you have to make it for a whole big tzibur, and you have to bring small people, they're called children. Yeah, you have to bring them along also, even though they don't know what you're talking about, but the very fact that they are there, that will add to the whole perfection of the siyumim. And he said that will be matim to the whole Indian of Aaron Akoyan, that he saw everybody, and he brought down the Anana Yaakov, and that all this type of activity, both the love of all Yidden Kipshutei, and the Siyumim, and he mentions here another couple of things from the Pirkei Avos that we learned this week, but I just can't go into everything, but he brings out from there also a very fascinating point, and it all adds up to this union of the union of elevation and I'm sure together, and that's the greatness of the Beis Hamikdash, actually, like we pointed out at the beginning. So therefore, says the Rebbe, you got to get cracking. That even though it's the 9 days, the avodah is not to sit around and be, how do you call it, more shkoradik, but the avodah is to stir Yidden into harvest as well, and into actors, and into actors talking about Gevoya, Be'ezim, like we learn, and to bring them out, take them out, the Gillah of Mashiach Tzidkeinu, Amen, Keinu, Yerotzim, B'Pei Omanim.
Amen.
Here we are. Get some idea what the Aaron's Yard said is about, right?
Who knew? Indians.
So we can have a little suda now, that's not a question. That's a little Chayim.
is a vegetarian.
Some Yidden, they time that if you make a Shiur, Massei, then you can eat. But in the Beit, they didn't go to fast. And the Rebbe brings it down several times. In the Rebbe, they didn't quite go to fast. Or there are some Yidden who are older. Oh yeah. There's some Yidden who used to, once a day or two before Tisha B'Av, they would make a Shiur when they would eat.
Thank you. Thank you.
You don't drink wine. Wine.
Yes, this was Massei came
At Massei, do we have to wait? One Mashiach now, we don't want to wait. At Massei, do we have to wait? We want Mashiach now, we don't want to wait.
You know, I don't eat carbs. I don't eat carbohydrates.
I don't like a little. I like a lot. Tomorrow I have to study.
Great time.
That's right. I don't joke around. I don't mess around. I'm not sleeping. I'm listening. I turn off everything and I hear every word. Otherwise, I'm paying attention to every movement, every eye, because I'm aware I see everything. And my mind is processing everything. But I'm not. But I'm very aware of my environment. So I have to close my eyes if I want to learn as much as possible.
Good. Okay.
Where is the Chamor?
That was the old thing, yeah, we'll take that into account.
You can eat pickles.
Yes, I can, that's very good.
Both of my legs.
Now it's a little further. Back. Legs. So read out from your son.
Go ahead.
No, it's changed.
What's no difference?
I think he's going to buy somewhere. Someone speaking for
Yeah.
not like people that buy a little further,
No grandchildren,
more like in the shops. Do you remember
no
the
wife,
shul
no
of
job, no problems.
But you're working on all that, yeah?
I do.
Rabbi, we started
Any new prospects?
Torah was used to be the
Yeah, actually, I was in.
many years ago. Yeah, before
That was in Yerushalayim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
had the shul.
Balot.
Ah.
I don't know.
It's in the middle of
Oh, interesting.
Do you know about
this
this?
This little trip to Yerushalayim from that's sponsored by the Chabad Tsfat.
Ah, it's not exactly in the.
I got an email.
We didn't get to 5 yet.
5 minutes drive.
There is, there's like a,
It's already far now.
an OLED coordinator for the city of Tzfat that supposedly speaks English.
That's what we got to 5.
But they just sent out an email, they're having a free trip to Yerushalayim in a couple of weeks.
Oh, you don't know?
I'm not that far going.
But now, it became too expensive. It's crazy.
Out
of the shkuna.
Yeah, to buy all the
couple of other places.
I did that with Owen Tom. I did that with my Tom.
It's probably like, how long ago was that?
Yeah, that was when I did Owen Tom 2 years ago or something. We went to the Kotel, we went to the Machine,
I don't think it's almost right on. It's a one-day trip, but it's free.
Yeah, no.
So,
That
and
was
if
it.
you're interested in going,
Rent are very expensive.
you have to
What do you mean?
sign up right away.
Huh?
Let me know. They're leaving from the parking lot from the Sarai.
Chaim, Rabbi Gafni, that the Drisha Shalom from
Yeah, actually, it's been not years, but yeah, I'm sure they're.
The story in Rizal.
Yeah, it's not specifically so much of it. Getting out of Tzfat and,
Yeah.
Hope no big.
traveling.
Made us seafood, right?
Yeah,
there is going to be
Yeah, let's see what we
and
do.
you talk.
I mean, I never go to Yerushalayim all the time.
Yeah, really, I never bought that. What's the house in Bear Road? Could you forward it to me?
Yeah, I'll remind
Yeah, that's what I knew where he lived. It's in the same building, I think.
to the Olim Hadashim.
Amen.
So, I just want to give her
Daughter didn't say a lot. She was just being.
what's going on. The Rebbe mentions that in the actual Gafni, the Sikha that we learned, and a little bit more in the Sikkum tonight, that if we look in the Parsha, then the Yidden went 42 journeys. From the moment they left Mitzrayim until they reached Avos Moab. And they were about to go over the Yarden into Eretz Yisrael. 42 journeys. So the Baal Shem Tov taught us that every individual Yid has got to go through 42 journeys. From the moment that he's born, but the birth, according to their result, is also an inyan of Yitzhak Mitzrayim. You're coming out of the rectum of the mother like coming out of Egypt. It's ain't kind of woman that you go into that whole inyan. And then until such time as you go back to the Eretz you go back to Gan Eden in Elam Haba, then you travel 42 journeys. So the Rebbe makes the point that it's enough, Yidden have been through enough journeys and there's been enough, and the whole Klal has, and they've all traveled and they've all done everything they could. They were holding now, we're all together on the banks of the Jordan, we're all in Arvis Moyav, and you can't sort of demand any more journeys. That's the point of the Rebbe. However, the Baal Shem Tov did teach, and it's a big doctrine in his whole teaching that every Yid has got to go. So it's written that Moshe Rabbeinu wrote down in the Torah the whole 42 journeys. So that itself arouses a question: why would Hashem write down all the journeys? Went from this place to that place, they were from this place to that place, mention all the names and where they were and where they weren't. Just say that they left Egypt and they were in the desert for 40 years and they traveled a number of journeys and they came to Eretz. What do you need to write all the journeys in detail? And also they're very important according to the Hasidic understanding, in the sense that you can't interrupt in the middle with another aliyah, you have to read them all together. Therefore our custom reading on Monday and Thursday, we read the whole Massei together. Which means that there's something, some sort of chut, like some thread, which unites them all together. So it's written, Moshe Rabbeinu wrote them all down, and it's written by Yitoi Moshe, es moitzoehem l'maaseihem al pi Hashem, according to the Eibishter. And then it's written, ve'ele maaseihem l'moitzoehem, which is, that's like the old saying by Yidden, wherever you have two Yidden, the other one will say opposite. In other words, a Yid says to you, Shalom Aleichem, then how do you answer? You answer Aleichem Shalom. In other words, a fool. It's a matter, it's written, Eile Moitzoehem l'maaseihem, Yitov Moshe, es Moitzoehem l'maaseihem, and then it's written, ve'ele maaseihem l'moitzoehem. So the truth is that the Alter Rebbe's got a whole thing about that in the Torah, but just at this moment I don't want to go into that. I just don't know the quiet. I want to make another point, and that is that according to the Baal Shem Tov, he says that the way Moshe Rabbeinu wrote in the Torah, al pi Hashem, all the journeys, they were all meant to be perfect according to Elokus. Al pi Hashem. Now all the journeys were supposed to be only good and divine things which would bring him from one level to the other, and it's one on that. Membeis is the Shem, it's Hashem according to Hashem Membeis. A very high aliyah according to the Arizal. And that's what Moshe Rabbeinu wrote. However, that's what is written, Ve'ele Maaseihem l'moitzoehem is fakir. That the Yidden took it, unfortunately, and had it, most of the journeys that I mentioned indicate not such good thing. And one of them, for example, that's already after quite a few of the journeys, after they were in Sinai, when they covered the Torah, then it's written that there was all business with the Slav, if you remember, way back in Parashat, and it's written that all the people who had time for the Slav, they all passed away, and they buried all the people there. and they call it the burial places of the lusters, you know, of the lust. Kivrot HaTava. And so it's written in one of the journeys, they went from wherever they were to Kivrot HaTava, and then they drove from Kivrot HaTava to... So came along the Baal Shem Tov, and he said in the name, this is just one example, he said in the name of there's a famous Kabbalah sefer called the Bris Menucha. Now, the Bris Menucha was a big makubal before the Arizal, before the Ramak. He was very old. And he wrote this amazing book called the Bris Menucha, and most people have a copy of that sefer. It's just as good as have it in their house. But to understand it is another thing. Very, very complex Kabbalah. However, the Arizal said it's a very, very, very authoritative Kabbalah sefer. So the Baal Shem Tov found in the sefer Bris Menucha that he said, Kivrot HaTava, that's not good. He said, however, there's two possibilities. He said, either the Tivers bury you, or you bury the Tivers. So the way it's written in the Torah, the way it's written in the Torah is Kivrot HaTava, the Tava buried there. But the Bris Menucha says that's not what Hashem meant. By Yitzhak Moshe al Pi Hashem, he meant it the other way around. He meant that you should be buried there. The Tava. And he said, how do you bury the Tava? Kivrot HaTava. He said, you're going to bury the Tava. There's nothing going to bury you. He said, how does that happen? Through spirits of Chokhmah. He said, if you get into wisdom and Torah, Chokhmah, and you're so busy, all the Tavas just fall out of the way. You bury the Tavas, the more you have wisdom and understanding, and therefore Chokhmah is also, as the Alter Rebbe brings in Paragimel, Koyat Man. And he called the power of Bittul. Ma is Bittul. A Bittul means self-nullification. So if you're really into learning, then you nullify the self. You don't care about the self. Remember, you bury the Tava. Remember, what was meant to be Kivrot HaTava turned into Kivrot HaTava, the Tava buried there. And it was like the other way around. Well, that's what this book in the Sefer Degel Massei Ephraim, he was the Einikel of the Baal Shem Tov. And the Rebbe brings it on numerous occasions, and it's actually brought down in Maimar Siddur, Hashem the Sefer Bris Menucha. That's one thing. And now I'm going to drop a bomb, but I drop bombs, nobody reacts very much. That's the difference. So I'll drop the bomb and then we'll see, whatever. Degel Massei Ephraim writes another amazing thing that he heard from the Baal Shem Tov. Right at the beginning of the Hedicotims, the Masseis, that's written that they came to the Yam Suf and they went to Elimor, Elimor. But the hay at the end is just like a hay, saying that's where they came to. It's like live. But the real word is Elim, Aleph, Lamed, Yud, Mem. So it comes on the Baal Shem Tov, I'm sorry, it's Degel Massei Ephraim, and he says he heard from the Baal Shem Tov that Aleph, Lamed, Yud, Mem is Rosh Hashanah's Yaakov Avinu Lo Meis.
Yaakov Avinu Lo Meis. Wow.
That's what he said. Now, you should realize that the Sefer Degel Massei Ephraim is Behechlet, not a Chabad Tsfat. It's Hedicotims from before the Alter Rebbe. It's the Baal Shem Tov's daughter's son that wrote the Sefer. And he says, Yan Yovino Lomeis. And he says, Ela hu chai v'kayim le'olam. That's what he wrote. Hu chai v'kayim le'olam. And he said that's one of the journeys that you got to go through. You got to come to the real tzaddikim anitrias. Very good. And he said, how do they manage that? And the other night, I think it was last Thursday, we gave her what the results said about the Ramah. So this is it's becoming quite adequate, common schora. Yeah, so it's coming. Once again, I'm not quoting things that are written. I'm not saying it. So the Jacob Machna project, how do they manage that? How do they become nitzvah? So he said, because Yaakov Avinu is midas ha'emet. The titei emes leYaakov. Tiferes is the infinite emet. Why? Because it's miyachid, two opposites together. He said, if you hold by emes ha'emet, he said, nothing can get in your way. Nothing can stop your being. You're just permanent, just like the truth is. Good evening, gentlemen. That's what he says. And he says that one of the reason that journey occurs early in the journeys is because you've got to know that right from the beginning. After you've been through the episode, then you've got to realize that that happens to be the case. Otherwise, you're going to run into confusion and difficulty. And you have to have a limo, and that's Yaakov Avinu Lomei. So what does that come to teach us? That comes to teach us that emes, a mensch, what he's called emes, he is Yitzchak. And the most amazing thing happened that this is us to be kept secret. Today, after, I met that fellow, but so I went to a bookstore and said, I'm not supposed to do that. So I put a couple of spots. That's my secret. And I got a taxi back from the bookstore to where I live. So we're talking about Mashiach, So all of a sudden he puts his hand up onto the thing, the thing about the, he pulls out a picture of the Rebbe, and it's written on it Mashiach. He said, Yesh Mashiach. He said, I already have Mashiach. That's what he says to me. He says, you have him, but we got to have him just a bit more than that. We got to really have him, So he says, he said, Atari Kata Rebbe. Well, he asked me. He said, I know the Rebbe personally. He just knew that I did. I said, yeah, of course. He said, no, not talking. What do you say? So I said, the Rebbe is Kulei Emes. Guilty L'Hashem L'Vatum. Only for the sake of Hashem. He doesn't know anything, only him. And therefore he's Mashiach, and therefore he's permanent, and therefore it's everything. That's the Rebbe. Why? But he is Emes Elamita. And now you're really going to jump out of your chest. I get home, and I decided I'd take a little lay down, I want to freshen up and all the Shiur and everything. I pick up a Sefer, I always do, I pick up a Sefer. Before I cut my dribble, I read, I'm saying, and this is a Sefer, this is as I told him to the Baal Shem Tov called the Pitnas Koritze. He was a big, and he didn't agree with the Alter Rebbe on 1 or 2 points, but let's not go into that for the moment. And he's got they printed a Seder recently for him with everything that he said, all sorts of things, very detailed. So I just told him to say, you know, it's written Emes, the heading Emes, and it's written there that he said once to one of his followers, you should know, he said that I am Mitzvah. It's a pretty heavy thing to say, you know. But if you really Emes, then you can say the Emes. They said the same thing about the Rashbi, or the Rashbi said if there's 2 people, it's me, you know. How come he said that? Because if you're really the truth, then you can say the truth. So he says that I'm in the same. I just happened to be told the taxi driver walking to the house, and I went to lay down for a while or so whenever I see the owners. No, don't listen. Can't get anybody excited. But anyway, that's the ending. Oh my Lord, what does it come out? That all of these great people, they were all united around one thing. They're only guilty of Hashem, they're only the Rebbe. The Rebbe is probably the most biggest example that's ever been in history of somebody who cared only about the Rebbe and only guilty of Hashem Avada. And that's why it is that the Rebbe is Netzchiyah. That's why he's Netzchiyah. And they will see every day the Rebbe's message is spreading. It's not quieting down. You agree with that? The Bavitch is not getting smaller. The Bavitch is Potential blooming. Nothing. Everything is functioning and developing, blooming. It's got huge messages to give to everybody. Why is that? Because everything is Netzchiyah. Everything is permanent. Him. Aleph, Mem, Tov. The first letter, the middle letter, the last letter. It's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. That's what the Baal Shem Tov said to the Yisraelikol, that you got to travel to Elaine, and you got to know that means you know, I'm telling you, when I saw it, my eyes jumped out. And it's powerful stuff. And it's not Chabad. That's very powerful. It is Chabad, but that is the Emes. Emes, Aleph, Mem, Tov. Aleph, Mem, Tov. So I just want to, before I leave, which I got to look at, I'm running out of questions. I've been feeling I got a whole problem with my hip bones and my knee bones and I'm pregnancy. Well, anyway, I just want to tell you like this. We say in the Shiur of Yom, on Yom Sheni, we say at the end, Yehu Elokeinu Elam Roed, Hu Yehanagenu Almos. So some people are trying to that it's 2 words, Al Moed, above death. Others say no, it's 1 word. And Al Mos is from the word Elim, and the word Elim with an iron in the Russian Kurdish means a child. A child. They call it a yellow. It's called a Elim. Hu Yanagenu Almos, that the Eivishter treats us like children. What's the extra one? What does he want from teaching us like children? Yeah, he's buried here in Tiberi. There was a very great Talmud that the Baal Shem Tov called the Rav Nachman Horodenke. And he gave over in the name of the Baal Shem Tov. But it's also brought down others from him. But he is the original Talmud that the Baal Shem Tov gave this over. He's buried over here in Tiberi. The Rav Nachman Horodenke. And he said like this, that when a child, the father wants to teach his child to walk. What does he do? He holds the child by the hands and he leads him. He goes backwards and he leads the child. And remember, the child leads the father. Without the father, he's not going to walk. But that's not the aim of the father. The aim of the father is that he wants to hold the child and eventually wants to be able to let go. And the child should be able to go on his own. So, says the Mahatma how think like that. He says that some people, they complain, and they say that at the beginning, when they came close to Yiddishkeit, the Abishah was with them, they felt everything. And they were into it, and no, it's in their temperature. Everything sort of dry, it's sinister, you make it, So says the Rav who think a book. He said, that's exactly what's got to happen. Because he said, the Abish has been leading you by the hand. Well, now because he loves you so profoundly, and he wants you to go on your own, but therefore he's left his hand, he's not holding you. Why is that? Because he wants you to do it on your own. So you've got to be strong enough to realize that now you don't feel so much, but that's because he's temporarily let his hands go. It's now up to you. And when I saw that, I fell off my chair. That is just amazing. That's unbelievable. And it answers so many questions. That's so many questions. The same with Yaakov Avinu, little maidens. And to know the real inyan of a tzaddik, what he brings about in the world, of what he is, and his netzchiyah, you gotta work at it. And the Abish will lead you maybe a little bit, and then all of a sudden, you're on your own. You gotta work at it. And the secret is that you gotta really come to realize that you gotta pull out a little thing you gotta serve. The river, he is the one. It's a taxi driver to people, that's one. But you gotta work at it. And sometimes it's happening like that. You gotta work at it. In the meantime, the Abish has showed you everything and gave you everything. And he's led you up to it a bit, up to the boat. And you gotta work at it, you gotta do it yourself. You get it?
It's one-way ticket.
Yeah. You gotta do it yourself. It's not a simple task, but that's the challenge of life. That's it. And the Rebbe is there. He's with us. It's here. So that's it, guys. That's what I want to tell you. You've got to realize that it's very, very, very profound. Very. And this Rav Nachman Horodeka, he was so intimate with the Baal Shem Tov that whenever the Baal Shem Tov went away for a few days, he would look up certain things in the house that he didn't want anybody to interfere with, and he would give the key to this Rav Nachman Horodeka. Which means that if he wanted, he could have snuck in and seen all the secret things of the Baal Shem. He had the key. But the Baal Shem trusted him that he wouldn't do it. So you get some idea who this man was. And he heard over that, it's written in his name, that he heard that from the Baal Shem. So there we are, guys. So Shvedish Menachem, we got to get cracking. We got to bring the girls who play with mommy, and we got to be positive. I mean, positive. We got to say only positive things to people. Be positive, act positive, think positive. Everything positive. positive and will be. Within the moment you become a little bit so they come out, it's a fight. So as soon as the other boxer sees that you're a little bit of if he sees that you're really a little bit of and not only that, you basically eat him up. And that's what they say I remember when I was in the army, they used to say that the secret of all battle is attack. You must only attack, you must never defend. You must only attack. I remember when we were in the army, they used to give it every few days, they used to, at a parade or something, they would say, Tizkaru, Shasodhu, Rakratki. Unfortunately, they don't do it anymore because of all the politics. But that's what they really hope. Anyway, whatever.
Who Ariza Chai, the Rebbe said
there was a very great authority called the Koman. He's of Isaac Koman. He was an unbelievable. He wrote a poem called the Poem Above. You ever seen it? He wrote a book. He wrote a book, and he calls the Ariza Chachai.
he was the
And the Rebbe quotes it. The Rebbe likes it. And the Rebbe likes it, and the Rebbe was Chayim. He wrote the whole thing, where he continually writes about the Ariza Chachai.
It's Nitzkiut, right?
Yeah.
It's also Nitzkiut.
חיים.